welcome friends to the newest edition of Seahawkers What If. Typically, it's the most unique, Seahawks preview show in the multiverse, but this is a off-season What If spectacular. If you're watching on YouTube, and you ought to be, the whole gang, minus Wilson Kahn. He's still hanging out at Princeton doing his thing, being young, being restless, just dominating Princeton, having fun. But the rest of the gang is here. We got Brandon, we got Adam, we got Mr. Phil the Protector. And if Mr. Phil the Protector is here, then it is a What If spectacular. What If means we're going to be traversing the multiverse and previewing hopes and crannies of Seahawks life. Gentlemen, we got limited time here. So Brandon, Adam, hello. But Mr. Phil, welcome back to the offseason. Hope you're doing great, bud. What are we going to be talking about today on this offseason spectacular?
Well, it's been some time since I've been able to be on the pod. I've been enjoying a lot of the ones you guys have been putting out there. We definitely got Adam's strong opinion related to pick number 5, whether it should be a quarterback. But with this pre-draft spectacular, it's going to be, do you want me to jump right in or say hi to everybody? I feel like I should say hi to everybody.
Say hi. It's been a minute, Say hi.
Hi, Adam. And Adam's first time ever on What If, so for like the 5th time.
I've been dreaming about this since this show began, It's a dream come true.
And Brandon, we're going to talk position groups and get our perspective on the position groups as we are in April. We're in April. Are you excited that it's April, Brandon, as we prepare for draft mode?
Draft month is here. And gosh, we've got, part of me is excited for the draft, but then part of me is sad because, once you get into June, June is the toughest football month of the entire calendar year. Because I don't know, they structure it so well that you got Super Bowl, then free agency in March, and then in April, the draft. And then you kind of still get to be excited about your draft picks, and you got the schedule in May. Yeah. So June, yeah.
Come on, Brandon. Are you that guy? Well, we're in the playoffs, but I get sad in the playoffs because that means the season's almost over. Can't we just enjoy that this is the coolest draft the Seahawks have ever had the chance to participate in? And we're going to have a live show, I am sure, for the entirety of Thursday night's draft and just look forward to enjoying it. Do we already have to be sad that it's almost gone?
We do. We have to be a little bit sad that it's going to be here and then it's going to be gone. So, such as fleeting life of the entire football season.
I do have one fun thing. If June could be anything, June could be a month of glorious planning. We'll know where the Seahawks are playing. We'll know when the Seahawks are playing. That means we could push tin, figure out what road game we might want to go to, figure out what home games we might want to go to. So June could be a very nice month to get ourselves together so we can have even more fun come September. How's that, Phil?
I like it. Anything to avoid going into negative town when we have so much to look forward to with the draft, which leads us into this particular show. I'm not going to say a number. I'm not going to say odd or even. We got all 3 of you. We have the A, the B, the C, the Adam, the Brandon, and the Clinton. And that just helps me organize things, A, B, and C. We are going to talk about confidence in our position groups as they stand right now. The show is What If We Talk Position Groups. And we're going to try to pinpoint some areas where there's some improvement gaps, some places where a player could really fit in there nicely and launch us forward with massive improvement. And I will mention those that we have on the team for longer than 1 year to give you a little sense of your confidence. And so what I'm going to do, Adam's going to get to go first because he is the A of our group. Sure. I would like him to give us a rating 0 to 9 for 2023 and the future, how he feels, his confidence in our position groups. Of course, we'll start with wide receiver, where we have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Derek Young. Each of those we have on contract for 3 years. Then we also have Winston Jr., Connor Weddington, D.S. Scridge we have for 2 years, and Cade Johnson. For 2023, what is your confidence and then the future 0 to 9, Adam, on our wide receivers?
I'd say for this year, my confidence level for wide receivers is about a 7. And I say that because I love, DK and Tyler. Obviously, they're one of the best, if not the best wide receiver duo in the league. What knocks it down a little bit for me in terms of today in this position group is I'm a little worried about Tyler's health going forward this next year. He's just getting a little older, and being a smaller receiver, it scares me. Just every year I am worried we're going to lose Tyler. DK, I feel like you can pencil him in. I mean, he does miss a game or two now and then, but he has been a beast, and so I don't worry about him so much. And then the last factor of it is just the depth. I mean, what are we doing at wide receiver 3? Is it Derek Young? It might be. He actually did some good things when he got a chance. So I like that. Can D. Eskridge ever put it together? There are times when receivers take 2-3 years to develop. You used to see that a lot. Now
Golden Tate, right?
Yeah, Golden Tate's a great example. Thank you. Yeah. Maybe he's the answer. Maybe that guy's in the draft. Maybe they pick that dude up at 20, at wide receiver. I don't know. But I like this position group. It's one of my more favorites on the team. And as far as the future goes, I'm probably closer to a 5, only because I'm worried about Tyler's longevity, and they haven't seemed to find that kind of replacement or the guy that takes that little bit of load off of Tyler to extend his career.
How about you, Brandon? Your confidence for 2023 on our receivers and then for the future?
Yeah, I think Adam pretty much nailed my thoughts in both past and present. So I don't know if I have much to add.
You're just going to say 7 and 5?
Yeah. And maybe I would trend a little bit upward toward the 8 just because I put less emphasis on the third wide receiver and the importance. And I do have some confidence that maybe that's a position that they will address, but I think we're rating it based on right now. And so, yeah, I'll bump it up a little bit to an 8 just because I am more confident than Adam.
Yes. And we're talking about before the draft. So I can have a few questions at the end, like how we consider, we'll look at our averages and all. Clinton, how do you feel about the wide receivers going into this year and the future?
Well, Phil, I feel great about that and the future. I'm an 8, and that's a pretty strong 8. And the reason being, Adam brought up the point of, Tyler's health. Well, Tyler has learned to never take an NFL hit for the most part when he doesn't want to, right? And then
when's the last time you've seen him get whacked?
Well, week 18.
Seen it.
Week 18.
Okay, week 18. Yeah,
and
that's
that,
right.
but it's all
they're down.
It's by choice though. That's the thing in his game now is like if he doesn't want to get hit, he just won't. He doesn't care if he's 2 yards short of the stick, and we grumble about it on Twitter because he's going to go make the next play anyway. So I think he's figured out a way to prolong that style of play with his body size.
Largent did that forever until he got caught. But I mean, he for years he wasn't taking hits.
Right. And he had a nice, very, very nice long career there as well. I don't know what to think about Derek. I really don't. Didn't see him enough. As much as I used to be on D. Eskridge, I'm off that. You got to show me something, and we haven't seen it. So the future, I'll still hang. I'll take it down to a 5 also. We got to do something. We got some great opportunities to do something. However, right now with Geno and Metcalf and Lockett, considering how Geno can stretch the field and use the middle of the field, those 3 people together, it's a pretty darn good trio. So I'm a strong 8.
So riding the D. Eskridge train into the stop, you look around and nobody's sitting there. And you're like, I think I'll get off at this stop as well.
Yes.
Okay, so our receivers, we came in at a 7.7 out of 9 average.
Ooh.
That's pretty high for this year. And a straight 5 for the future. So we might be looking at when we draft for the future. We're going to keep going on the offensive side, Adam, with offensive tackle. And this is a position of strength for now and future, I think. We have, of course, Cross and Lucas for 3 years, Forsyth for 2. One other tackle, Jalen McKenzie, we just have signed so far for this season. What's your confidence in this position group for now and the future, Adam?
Okay, so it's 0 to 9. Yeah, is that where we're at? Okay, we're not 0 to 12. We're not doing that. Okay,
12 might have made
fine.
sense. I already made the whole database, and I obviously blew it, which I didn't do a 12. So it was fitting beautifully with the 0 to 9, I thought, and then you said 12, and now I feel like an idiot. But go ahead, 0 to 9.
I'd be an 8 for today on this position group. Obviously, Cross and Lucas, they were very good last year, a year of a professional offseason. They didn't come out of the season with any major injuries, no big surgeries, anything like that. They're only going to get better. And I actually like Forsyth as a backup swing tackle. He came in and held his own a couple times last year. And on top of all that, like Phil Haynes, he can pop out there if you really had to in an emergency. So for the future, I'm a 9. I think
awesome.
These guys are bookend tackles for the next 10 years.
I love it. Super confident with the tackles. How about you, Brandon? How are you feeling about our offensive tackle position?
Yeah.
By the way, this is the only position we've ever taken top 10 under Pete. The times we've had top 10 picks, we've taken tackle. So we know there might be a change this year. Free point. Go ahead, Brandon.
I think so, because I feel like they're pretty strong at tackle. That would be one area of concern I think I'd have if they didn't, if they just decided to go ahead and still address that in the draft. That would be weird. But, maybe there's some flexibility on moving guys inside and that sort of thing. So I wouldn't completely throw it out. But I'm probably at a 7 here for current line, just because I think there's enough unknown with Evan Brown coming on as the center / guard, and whether or not he'll fit in. Well,
we will do interior O-line next, Brandon.
Okay, so just doing tackles.
Tackle,
okay. Yeah. I guess I agree with Adam then.
Okay, so 7 and a 9, is that where we're at?
Sure.
Okay. All right. What do you got, Clinton?
But Adam was a 7 for the current guy?
No, he was 8 for the current. So you're going back up to an 8. You're staying right with Adam.
Yeah, I was basing my 7 off of the interior. So
okay, I got you. Okay,
I wasn't listening.
Friends since kindergarten.
Get it together,
Brandon. It's hard to get you guys to be different, I guess.
Adam was a 12. Brandon was an 8. Gotcha.
Right.
All right. So the only way that they're moving Abe Lucas, it would Dewan Jones, right? The 6'8", 400-pounder was.
I love that dude.
Was a draft visit. I learned that.
Right tackle for life.
Yeah. Right. So 6'8" dancing bear. That's strange how big he is and how agile he is. And it would still probably be the wrong move to take Abe Lucas, who had a very, very solid year. Even a quick mini debate of who was actually better, Cross or Lucas, is pretty interesting.
Lucas.
Yeah, I think it was Lucas also. And Cross was good.
Cross finished pretty strong though.
He did.
Cross had a pretty good ending. Yep.
And Lucas, when Lucas had to deal with like Bosa, like flopping over to another side, sometimes it wasn't, it was like, oh, that's how you get treated on the left-hand side with usually the more superior rusher going over there too. So interesting stuff. So definitely I'm going to go with a solid 7 right now. And it's just they were really good. Really good. They were definitely like B plus. Can they get to B plus A? And can they run block better? Pass blocking was pretty darn good. Run blocking wasn't great. Now that
Lucas was a monster in the run game.
It also could be interior line and who's helping them at guard and who's helping them at center for sure. For sure. Right. So Hurd for sure, Adam, but I'll take it to a 7 regardless. Future though, the future's so bright. We got to wear shades on this one. I
haven't heard that in a while. Yeah.
It's a 9. I mean, we got 2 rookie tackles on going into second year. So every way you look at that, even if they're just B plus dudes on rookie contracts, that's still a 9 because you got to put that into the equation.
Yeah. Straight 9s from you guys for the future. We love the future for tackle. 7.7 also for this year on offensive tackle. So receiver and tackle, you gentlemen feel we're looking really good. Now we go to interior O-line. Maybe I should switch up the order just for fun. Okay. And I can go BCA. Okay, start with Brandon because he already is dying to talk interior O-line. Interior O-line, here's what's interesting, gentlemen. We have no players signed beyond 2023. Not a one of them. Evan Brown, Joey Hunt, Damian Lewis, Phil Haynes, Curran, Greg Island. Those are our guys. Brandon, you're first for 2023 and the future, whatever that is. How do you feel? What's your confidence in our interior O-line?
Did you say Joey Hunt? Is he on this team still?
Yeah. They re-signed him right at the end of the year.
Oh, how about that?
Doesn't mean he's going to make the 53, but he's signed for the year at the lowest possible dollar amount.
Oh, good for him. And I think
I'm glad you read the paper that I sent you that had all these position groups, Brandon.
I don't know if you've gotten this so far, Phil, but my preparedness level for this very much.
Brandon, I am in full support of you being more wing it. I love it.
It's
Don't
fun.
let
Yeah,
him bring
we
you
don't
down.
usually get this.
Hey,
This is the
hey,
opposite
maybe-
of Brandon on the
Yes.
Seahawkers pod.
Maybe I'll plan for it when it comes around June time.
Yeah,
Man,
you're ready
that's
for
a-
June. You're
a
already
month of
looking ahead
planning.
to June.
The month of planning. Very nice.
This has to be one of my lowest graded groups. I mean, Damian Lewis probably puts me at a 4 for this group just because at least there's some continuity there. But Phil Haynes injury concern, this is one of the areas that I'd like to see him address the most out of the draft. So currently a 4. Future, it would probably be a 3 until they address that, because like you said, there's just nobody with the team long term at this point. So I'm down on the interior right now. I could see more from the center. You know, if Phil Haynes comes out and produces for a full season and doesn't get injured and is at least just average level, then I'd feel a lot better. But yeah, right now, not so much.
Even projecting a 3 for the future is fun because that means you just have confidence in the coaching and in the staff to hire somebody, because we have nobody hired beyond this year. Clinton, how do you feel about our interior O-line 0 to 9 this year and in the future?
Okay, so I'm going to go a smidgen higher than Brandon here because my confidence level, it's a 6, and I got some reasons. I got some reasons here. I think it's deceivingly not terrible, and it's been worse in recent past.
It's because you love all the fills in your life, Clinton.
I do love me some fills. That's true.
Because he's broken down all of the Evan Brown tape from the past 2 seasons.
You know
this guy
me.
is a monster.
You know me. That's it. He's got sand in his pants, as they say, right? Well, here's why it's a 6 for me. Damian Lewis is above average. He's a good NFL guard. Cool. Evan Brown is a good NFL center. When he played center, his numbers show that out. Run blocking, pass blocking, his numbers show out. He's an above average center. Phil Haynes, even though I love Beefy Boy, I'm going to put him like slightly below average for now. I think he could be a little better. So 6 and a 4 equals 5 point something. So 5.75. So we're at a 6 there, which is pretty good. That's my current state. I can't go too heavy on the future, except for the fact that I trust that they're going to make the adjustments needed. So I'll just simply say a 4 there. They have enough people on cheap contracts that they could probably figure out who they want to keep here. Do they keep D-Lou and give him a pretty sizable contract next year? We'll see. He's probably going to earn pretty good money. I think they'll figure out interior. There's always bodies there. So I'll just give that a 4 for the sake of it. But I think the 6 is more important right now.
What I love about Evan Brown's, when we played them, their O-line looked really good, but our D-line wasn't very good. So I don't know. The biggest thing I love about Evan Brown is all their fans were kind of sad to see him go. So that made me feel a little bit better. Adam, what do you got on this year and the future for the interior?
I got a 5 for right now.
Okay.
And basically, I know that split the difference between Clinton and Brandon here, but I like D-Lou. I think a lot of his struggles in pass protection have been because they've had a smaller center playing next to him for a while. It gets tough when they're running stunts on the interior and things like that. And you don't have the slide help from a bigger center to help you in pass protection. So I think that's been a little hard for him at times, but I think you get him a little help, to his right, and all of a sudden he's even better than slightly above average. Right. And Evan Brown, just as Clinton had pointed out, had that one very good year at center. Does that mean he's a good center? Probably.
Yeah,
I don't know that we can say that for sure. We'll have to see it. I don't know too. Are they planning on playing him at guard? I mean, is that and getting a center in the draft? That could be the way that they go. And he wasn't quite as good at guard.
Well, Schneider said on his show that he's a center that can play guard, but he's way more of a center is what he said. But that's just I don't take that for what it's worth.
Sure.
Hey, I just want to jump in and say something real quick about Google has my back on Joey Hunt, because if you search Joey Hunt's name, the number one question that people also ask is Joey Hunt still in the NFL?
Okay, so your preparedness is the same as most. So we'll give you a pass, Brandon.
Yeah. And then my biggest concern is easily right guard. It's not even close. I'm not a Phil Haynes guy completely. Like, I think he's a good backup. Like, he's a good backup. I don't think he's starter level quality. He couldn't beat out an aging Gabe Jackson last year, whose game really did decline. They still split reps throughout the year. So I have a hunch that in this draft, we're going to see interior offensive linemen more than a lot of people might like. But you guys mentioned DeJuan Jones a little earlier in having him out at tackle and bumping Lucas. And that's not the way I'd go. I'd keep Lucas at right tackle. And I put Jones at guard. That dude is a mammoth of a human. And it'd just be an absolute road grader with somebody like Lucas there. I would love to see that. If they can pick him up like with their first, second round pick, I don't know if he'll be there. He's kind of projected maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower. I don't know. But I like it. For the
Put
future,
him next to Joey Hunt. And then, that'd be fun.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you'd have the odd couple at
It's like DK and Tyler next to each other.
right. Yeah, maybe there's something to that. The speed and wits of Joey Hunt with the mammoth of a man, DeJuan Jones. But we'll see what they do there. As far as the future, I'm at about a 5 again, because I do think that they're going to go out in this draft and get a couple guys that can play. And you can find interior offensive linemen in the 3rd, 4th round. And not that they've been great at it up to this point, but every now and then they do find a gem in those rounds. So, 5 and 5.
All right. And if Joey Hunt makes the roster, I'll remember to lower Brandon's grade to like a 2 for 2023. Yes. Yeah. Do you guys think Damian Lewis is going to get extended?
I think the Geno contract makes that way easier because Geno's deal came in at such a team-friendly number. And then you'll have Bobby off the books again next year, unless maybe they sign him to another 1-year deal. Who knows? Hard to say. But the cap space, I think, will be there. I know they're up against it right now, but
yeah. But extending is, I mean, we can do the first year pretty low, probably.
Sure.
Depends on what he's looking for. Okay, tight end. We'll let Clinton go first. We'll get the letters all mixed around. Clinton on tight ends. We have Fant, Disley, Parkinson, and Mabry. Only Disley is signed for 2 years. Everybody else, this is the final year they're under contract. Of course, we kind of would love Fant to either be extended or something so we can get his cap number down. But how do you feel, Clinton, about how's your confidence for the position going into this year and the future on tight end?
This could be one of the weaker positions for me. So my current is about a 4.
Wow. Okay.
Well, Disley has a weird injury, right? They're like, haven't seen this type of thing. He has a history of injuries. So, okay. Parkinson's not much of a blocker. Fant's he got better. And it was interesting to see him doing some things more on the interior. Fant is not much of a blocker, and he is not as dynamic as I think we were all hoping as a pass catcher either. He's good. I like Noah Fant. That's a 4. In general, the future with only Disley at an expensive contract, because we kind of overpaid for Disley, I'm at a 2. Like we don't really have tight ends going forward, and hence we got some picks coming up that we probably need to make. So I'm pretty down on this particular point of it. If Disley was just straight healthy, it's at least a full point higher, but he's not. So until we know that we got our actual blocking tight end healthy, I can't go higher than 4.
How about you, Adam? It sounds like you got an entirely different opinion about our tight ends. What's your score for this year and then moving forward?
I couldn't disagree more about the now. I'm like, it's
that's what we like.
9, an 8 or 9 for me on the now. I don't know why people are so down on this position group. Well, I mean, I heard kind of what Clinton thinks here, but as a group, they were awesome as receivers this last year. They may have been one of the strengths of the team. How many games do we go back and be like, man, they really tore it up with the tight ends in that game? I mean, Parkinson had a couple big games. Noah Fant had a couple big games. Fant still had 50 receptions last year. Like that was a solid tight end year.
But was it the scheme and like them scheming tight ends open with the great? I care because we're talking about personnel, right? So it's like if you could replace those dudes, would we be that much better? I don't think we have dynamic tight ends right now.
So you don't want Fant extended at all, Clinton? You think the 5th-year option was a mistake?
No, I wouldn't say that. It's. I think let's see what happens with the drafts because there's some great prospects this year. And let's just see what happens. I like Noah Fant, but I'm left wanting more from Noah fans. So I just think they schemed these guys open, which is cool. They executed it.
But he has to be able to run good routes for that to work, and he has to not drop the passes, right?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
they did their job. I mean, whether it's scheme or just all their own talent. I mean, it's that you can say that at any position. Well, was he good just because of the scheme, or was he good because he's actually good? I like this tight end group a lot. And I think that Dissly is actually a very good blocker. And, when you talk about his injury, he's come back from other weird injuries and still been very good. And how dare you get down on a Montana boy? I cannot stand that. But
they always get back up. The Montana guys always get back up, right?
That's exactly right. He's tough as nails. And Parkinson actually came on last year. That was the first year that I saw him do a couple things and be like, oh, okay. Yeah. That's what they had seen when they drafted him. So for the future, though, probably closer to a 4.
Sure.
Mainly because, Dissly's injuries are piling up, and Noah Fant, he's going to get a big contract somewhere. And I don't think he's big contract worthy. At his number right now, I really like him. At a bigger number that he's going to command in the open market because he has name recognition and is, more of a passing tight end, I think he's going to get way too much money. I do have faith, though, that the Seahawks will go out and find more tight ends. I wouldn't be mad if they drafted tight end this year at all. Because if you look back over the history, whether it's Zach Miller or McCoy or Jimmy Graham or, go down the list, they've always found tight ends during this regime that have been effective. So what was that? 8 and a 4.
All right, Brandon, your letter's in the middle. You get to be the tiebreaker with all your incredible preparation you've done on this group, the work that you put in. I'm kind of convinced by both sides. I need you to break the tie.
Like that?
I need you to break the tie, Brandon. What's your confidence? We have an 8 and a 4. Where are you at?
7 for the current group. I am more higher on because this trio I think is solid. You got to recognize maybe some injury concerns, but within the scheme, what they ask them to do, they're all very capable. And then long term, I do have confidence that they'll find guys, but they don't have them yet. I guess I'd be more at a 4.
Okay. All right. So that puts us at a 6 and a third and a 3 and a third for the future. So, above average, below average. Quarterback. Who should we start with on this one? I really feel like we should start with Brandan. Brandan, how do you feel? Confidence now and the future for quarterback. We have Smith for 3 years, and we did that amazing, great deal on Locke and got him signed for this year, which I'm so excited that we have Locke back on our team. That just makes me feel nice. Brandan, how do you feel?
I feel all right. Oh, Clinton showing off his number 2 Locke jersey.
Yeah, he's good at being number 2. We'll give him Locke is a earns number 2.
With the current group, I'd probably lean toward a 6. I'm kind of waffling between a 5 and a 6 currently, just because I think we would have to say that with a top 5 guy in the mix, that would have to put me more at an 8 or 9 type level. And I'm not that confident in Geno. Now, I could have my mind changed. It's just I feel like where Geno's going to have his most success is through having the people around him, and that would be improving the offensive line, improving the tight end group, potentially finding another wide receiver. So improving the running game too. And then that is going to allow him to, be that guy within the offense that makes it all work. So yeah, I'll go with a 6 toward the future. I'm probably, because he is, I don't know, 5. I'll
5 in the future, 6 for this year. Adam, what do you think about the quarterbacks for the Seattle Seahawks? Where's your confidence 0 to 9?
I'm at about a 7.
Okay.
I like Geno a lot, maybe more than some people. It's clear, and you can't argue it. You can't, because this is a stone cold fact. Whether you go by the eye test or by stats, Geno had a top 10 year at quarterback. Was it number 5? No. Is it closer to like 9 or 10? Probably. But top 10 year, that's really good. Some argue you regressed towards the end of the year. And I think you could say with some fairness that, yeah, the play dropped off a little bit towards the end of the year. But was that a result of Geno getting worse, or was that more a result of the interior line starting to get beat up when teams had seen enough tape to know, oh, we can take advantage of the Seahawks interior line? And he was also playing with 2 rookies at tackle that hit the rookie wall to some degree towards the end of the season as well. The offensive line regressed towards the end of the season. And so Geno's stats went down a little bit. But was Geno still the strength of the team? Hell yes. I mean, you can't argue otherwise. The defense, they point at the record, people that are Geno detractors. 3-6 down the stretch. Okay, that's fine. Was that a Geno problem? Or was it a problem that the defense completely fell apart and was maybe the worst in the league? I think you could argue that it was. That's not a Geno problem. I like Geno a lot, and I think this team is definitely going to be a better team this upcoming year than this year with this incredible draft, what they've done in free agency thus far. I think you can only say it's upgraded. It's not like you're the Rams that's just bleeding players and you're in Scroodville. So I like him a lot. I think I learned something last year with Geno, and when he won the job, I was the guy that was like, nope, it needs to be Locke. I know what Geno is, and he is not it. I was wrong. I was dead wrong. And so if I learn that after a couple of years in the system, a quarterback who's been a career backup can come in and be a very serviceable starter, well then heck, I like Drew Lock's odds quite a bit, right? All of the Denver fans when he got traded were like, he got a raw deal. Fangio stunk. Elway stunk. They really stabbed him in the back. I think he has an opportunity to work at his craft, learn the offense more, figure out how to be a leader a little better under somebody like Geno. Read his Players Tribune article if you haven't already. It came out today.
I was going to say that. It was awesome.
Freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think that's great. They will add another quarterback, I suspect, but it's probably going to be more like a DTR and the third or something like that. They are not spending number 5 on a quarterback. It's not happening, people. You just need to get on board with it. I know the underwear Olympics was impressive for a few of these guys, but we're talking about football players here. So I really like the position group as it stands now at 7. I think going forward, I'm probably at a 7.
Wow. Okay.
So I think Geno can sustain this for a couple years. I don't know how far in the future we're talking, like when you're talking future. But if we're talking like 3 years, which I think is about all the further you can really look.
Sure.
I really like the odds that Geno is a very, very good quarterback for the next couple years. Obviously, Locke will probably move on at that point. And if they have drafted a young guy that could come up and be behind him, then they'd have a pretty good backup. So 7 and 7.
What do you think, Clinton, on the quarterbacks?
I think several things. First of all, Adam mentioned the Rams, so screw the Rams. Let's all recognize
Forever.
that, forever, first and foremost. Adam had to once again say he was wrong so that people on YouTube, when they call him out on something a year later, be like, hey, go watch the tape. I already talked about this. I was wrong. Hence, I bought a Drew Lock jersey last year. I purchased this. Now it's a knockoff, so don't get on me too hard. But I'm happy to still rock.
I'm happy for you that it was a knockoff.
Yeah, me too. So is my so I'm very happy about that. But here's the thing: the current situation of the Seahawks quarterback, guys, you're both missing the boat here. This is a straight 9. This is a 9. It's not about Geno being maybe top 8, best completion percentage. Best deep ball percentage, uses the middle of the field.
In the NFC, though, who would you rather have? Is that what you're about to say?
No. That's all good. It's still Geno. It's Geno.
NFL. He's saying NFL, Phil.
I'm just saying Geno's a darn good. I'm saying we're comparing what we got right now. Put the contract into this equation. He's got to be in there. He's a 9. And here's the beautiful part. We still didn't take, besides scheming, by the way, tight ends open, which matters a lot. Those were Geno's cheap yards last year when we did tight end drags. He would boot out wide open, beautiful, right? We were scratching our heads later being like, why do we run that more? Or why do we stop running that? Because it's been open all year long. My point being is we were good sometimes getting him cheap stuff. Most of the time he was working hard over the middle, down the field. what happens when Ken Walker actually goes from 27 receptions, hopefully up to 45, 50 receptions, maybe changes the game dynamically, gives him the Jalen Hurts check down play that the Eagles ran so well and others run so well, that Purdy ran so well. Give him some more easy things. And so he's a 9 for me. I'll take him down to an 8 for future state because one more year, contract goes on, and we don't really know what's happening with backup just yet. Maybe it's locked, maybe it's not. 9 and 8. Our QB situation is chef's kiss.
I went and read Gino's letter while you two guys were talking. And
there was time,
I guess.
You're going up to an 8 now. Okay.
I mean,
right, so
read the letter to the 12s there that Gino wrote and tell me you don't go, that's my quarterback, man.
Yeah,
Like,
everybody does.
Who writes that? You don't see that come out from a current player very often.
No, it's pretty awesome.
It did make me a little scared though, like that dropped in the kind of the way that he talked, that it was almost like a preemptive. Well, if they do end up drafting a quarterback at 5, no, I'm still the guy and I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like it almost felt a little like that. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, but they've already talked to him about it. I think he's got the mentality. He's totally down with whatever they do.
Yeah, except for let's not draft the quarterback at 5 because we don't need one, and that's stupid. We're at 9. Let's go.
Okay, running backs. Clinton hasn't got to start in a while. So Clinton, on the running backs, we have Walker for 3 years, and then we have Dallas and Darwin Thompson just for this year. That's all the running backs on our team. How do you feel about them?
Walker alone, is going to skew this very, very heavily northward. So, it's an easy 7.
But do you need more than one good running back on an NFL team?
Yes, and we have DJ Dallas, and he's a good running back.
So
he's a good NFL running back. There's some things we need to do a little bit better. I think K9's going to improve. I think he'll become more of an actual 3-down threat, get out there more like early Zeke years, because Zeke still is a heck of a run blocker, and Zeke is still unbelievable at the 1 and 2 yard line, which, by the way, I would not mind if there was a cheap contract to get Zeke in Seattle. I'd be all in on that. For the future, I think I'll just go 7 across the board. He's young. It's all about Walker. We'll figure out the rest. We probably draft somebody this year. So 7s across the board, very, very solid, and don't got to overthink this one.
How do you feel, Brandon, on the running back, 0 to 9?
Walker is my favorite player out of the last year's draft class. So I'm at an 8. I think that he's going to go into this season and show that, if DJ Dallas needs to come in and give him a rest every now and then, that's fine. Maybe they draft a guy too, and then that adds another dynamic. But I think the draft part of it for me is that we do see a lot of injuries at the position. Rashad Penny leaving, while I really liked Rashad Penny's potential, the fact that he's leaving allows for an opportunity of a guy who could come in and maybe stay healthy. And so that way, if you do have a freak injury, then you have a guy who's also healthy rather than you having multiple guys going down to injury because, my confidence level, if Walker were to get hurt, that Penny would then come in and be able to finish out the season, it'd be pretty low. So, draft a guy, 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. I have the expectation that he would do that. I don't know if that would then build into my future draft grade. No, because I'm not considering that right now. With what they have on the team, I'm going with an 8 because DJ Dallas has shown that he can be healthy over the course of the season. He can provide some consistency. I think they will use a draft pick. For the future, I'll go 7 just because long-term, who knows what the situation would be. I wouldn't count on Dallas to be the long-term guy. I would count on more through the draft.
Adam?
Yeah, I would say for right now, I'm at a 6, and that's because of right now in this moment. Like if they go out and do a couple more things, which they will at the running back spot over the next few weeks, don't come back and watch this video and be like, you were so low on these guys. No, we're talking about in this moment.
Before the draft. That way we have an improvement gap.
Exactly. I don't want to be hearing it. I don't need it. But I think that K9 is an electric, clear-cut, easy peasy number 1 running back. Like that's a guy you pencil in and you're like, that's 1,300 yards and 400 yards receiving. And he's going to figure out how to be a little more decisive in cutting it back up the middle instead of trying to bounce everything to the outside. and then he'll still have that burst outside.
Mhm.
K9, my second favorite player in last year's draft behind Twitterless Abe. That's my guy. I love him. But
I feel that. Yeah.
DJ Dallas is a number 3 back in this league. He's fine. And you need him. You need that guy to come in and play the Travis Homer role of personal protector and give up play runner. DJ Dallas can do that very well. That's fine. And as an emergency running back, sure. I don't mind DJ Dallas. That's not a problem. They got to go out and they got to draft a rookie running back or get an undrafted guy. They've been good at that too over the years, or get a guy late, whether it's Thomas Rawls or Chris Carson or something like that.
Carson was the 7th, but yeah, pretty much.
If they spent big draft capital on running back, I still wouldn't be mad. I think that's something that would be kind of cool. You need that 1-2 punch. Penny departing. While I love him, the person, he is such a nice kid. Yeah. I will not miss holding my breath every moment that he is on the team because he's going to come down with an injury. I won't miss it. So for the future, because they haven't addressed that second guy that you need to get through a season, K9's going to miss some games. It's going to happen. Happens to every back in the league. You need that number 2 guy for a 1-2 punch. Keep the load off him a little bit. I'm at about a 6 as well.
Okay.
Hey,
well, I was going to, yeah.
Hey, Phil, sorry. One thing real quick. I do want to, one thing I want to say, and then one thing I want to suggest is on the K9 stuff. Like, I think towards the end of the year, like last 5 or 6 games, we saw the more aggressiveness of like just taking what was there for the most, which is great. That progression happened last year, which is like, hey, good things happen when you play your young guys, especially when you have confidence in them. So that was cool to see there too. And I did want to suggest that I think we're going to run out of daylight for this particular, because I've got a bolt and a few. So what do you think about splitting this into offense, defense, maybe letting you wrap with the offensive things to look. I think you want to maybe wrap with some draft talk potentially for this. And then we cut it and then we'll come. And then maybe when I'm on vacation or after we could do a defensive version. Does that work?
Then we do one on the kickers.
And then one on Joey Hunt solo. Joey Hunt.
I completely left the special teams off, and I figured someone would ask about it, and I was gonna have fun with that person.
And it was Brandan.
Okay, so we kick it back in now, and I just do my follow-up questions.
I think like however you were gonna land it previously, just now do it for the half.
All right. So we had so much good talk about offense. It looks like you guys have earned us another show. We'll have to do one on defense. So everybody wins, and we'll come back and rate those. You guys were very positive about our offensive unit. There's only one that you feel like isn't in the upper area of the NFC on offense, and that's interior O-line. You guys have an average of a 5 for this year and a 4 for the future. I mean, wide receiver 7.7. Or offensive tackle 7.7. Tight end is where there was the big, back and forth, but still 6.3. The future is only a 3.3 there. Quarterback, you guys are at an 8 and then a 6.7. Running back 7 and a 6.7. So out of 9, these are very highly ranked. A couple questions I wanted to ask, and I guess you guys raise your hand who wants to jump in on this one. When we talk about this improvement gap, because going to the draft, if we're looking like areas we could really improve, it looks like we see some room there in interior line. But what about positional value? What about draft strength? Or there's also just the idea of we just want to improve our team with good players. So sometimes you just want to get the best player available. I see that Adam's generally that way, other than quarterback, maybe. As you think about an area for improvement gap, is it worth it for us in the first round to go after the interior O-line, since on offense it seems that's the area we could improve most? Or should we really just go for some serious playmakers? Like wide receiver, we say 7 2/3, but there could be an awesome player, and that might not look like the improvement gap is a lot on our rating, but it could really take our offense over the top, or a big playmaking tight end. How do you feel about addressing that, Adam, with some of our top picks?
Yeah. So when it comes to these top picks, and you're talking a little bit about best player available, that's definitely where I'm at. And the thing is that people kept asking me on the QB video, like, well, so what's your plan, Smarty Pants? Fair question. I had a dumb answer, which was, I don't care, just not that. So Brandan and I were talking about this on the pod we recorded just recently. And one of the things that we kind of conjured up as we were talking, just kind of organically, was what if they went with corner, and what would that look like? And because as you're thinking about it intuitively, you're like, wait, we're set at corner. Why in the world would we go there? But at 5, you'd have your pick of the litter of any of the top corners. There's like 3 or 4 that are graded somewhere in that top 10 area. I don't grade college cornerbacks. I'm not good at it. That's not so you can, whoever you like, that's great. But a couple of them are really big dudes that hit, right? Like Joey Porter Jr. or that Witherspoon kid out of Illinois. He's a thumper, man. A little bit smaller though. I like the idea of pairing him with like some big, big corner like Tariq Woolen, and all of a sudden we're talking about L 2.0 B, and I think that's exciting. So I'd like to do that, but I really think with this QB talk, in doubling down on the smokescreen part of it, I think there's 5 guys that teams are interested in. I throw Hooker into that. Most people leave it at 4. Hooker's the second best prospect, in my opinion, out of this draft. So if there's 5 guys, that means that if somebody needs to get that 5th dude that's still on the board, if it goes chalk 4 quarterbacks right out of the gate, which I still don't think it will, especially with the Cards, you have the opportunity now to trade with a team like the Raiders. Trade back from 5 to 7, pick up an extra pick, whether it's this draft or next draft. Let's say it's this draft, and then go gangbusters on the interior on guys that maybe aren't, because people are like, there's no great interior defensive lineman. There's no great interior offensive lineman. You can get some very good ones though in those rounds. So that's what I'd like to see him do.
Yeah. My questions are thrown off a little bit because I thought it was going to veer toward the defense and we didn't get to rate the defenders yet. But I mean, if Will Anderson's there, it's pretty hard to pass up on him, I would think, but trading down is really enticing. So the way that I was going to ask these doesn't exactly work because we didn't get to grade the defense. But as you think about the one area of weakness we seem to have on interior O-line, Brandon, do you think it's worth it for us to address it with some of our top picks? Do you think that'd be a good call? Are you hoping so?
Yeah, I think going there with one of the top 3 picks, maybe not the top pick, because
that'd be crazy.
Unless you're trading back and or taking a tackle, which they don't need, picking an offensive lineman in the top 10 is generally not that great of an idea, but just because of like positional value, like I said, outside tackle. So I think that if you're going interior, late 1st round, early 2nd round, you absolutely should do it, because I think you can find a player in that area that ultimately makes your team better soon. And whether that's at center, whether it's at guard, I think you have some flexibility on your team. You still have Joey Hunt, who can and so
nothing to worry about
there is really high.
Strong.
How about you, Clinton? I know you got to get back to work. You got final thoughts as we consider the offensive position groups, how they need to be addressed. What are you hoping for on offense in the top 5 picks?
Yeah, so the thing for me is a delta between skill players and a delta between interior line is a different type of delta, right? So if we take the wide receivers or the tight end group and go from, like, say, a 7 to a true 8 or 9, we go get a legitimate wide receiver 3, and we spend, let's say we're at 20, we trade back to 24 or something like that, or just take the dude we like, or at 37 take the wide receiver we like. That's where I would make the hay there, and push back the idea of we can get a guard, just like we got Lucas in the 3rd round last year as a tackle. We could find a tackle and move him inside, or go get a good guard, and in the 2nd or 3rd round, like late 2nd or 3rd round, I'm very confident we could do that. So I'd rather they put those chips there earlier. It's also frankly a bit more exciting, right? It's just literally more exciting to think about those specialized players, skill players. So that's what I'd like to see. The nice part is, to recap, we got 4 in the first 52. We have a lot of picks. And the way they've set this roster up, there's quite a bit of flexibility. Yeah. The one thing I will point out is, last year people were like, well, the Seahawks just took best player available. They didn't really go after need. Looking back at that, maybe we needed tackles. Yeah. Prioritize tackles. Okay, maybe we did not need a running back, but we did. We kind of did. And that proved out, right? So I like the blend of we could take the best player available. We want to take Brian Branch at 20 or trade back and take Branch and then put him into that safety / slot / can play corner hybridish mix that we're kind of building. Beautiful. Let's go. But man, oh man, let's change. We have a very, very good wide receiving core. What happens to Geno in this offense if that becomes elite?
There's 3 guys that could be there around 20 possibly that could start this year and make us have the best wide receiver group in the NFC for sure.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
all right.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff, right? So, I mean, who are your 3 guys? I mean, you're putting it out there. So who do you think are the 3?
I had it written down, and now you asked me
for the next episode.
Yes, when we talk about it,
his top 3
in Jigba. In Jigba, I really like. I don't know if he's going to make it to say is good, and I just spaced on the USC guy's name. That was the first
Addison.
one I went. Addison, I would love Addison. Those are the 3 that I would. Yeah. If we got any of those, we'd be looking awesome. So those that are on the Discord, I'm gonna take a shot of this, a picture of their ratings. You guys will be able to see the ratings the men did for our groups. If you weren't able to follow along with your ears alone, we'll come back here soon and we'll rate the defense. Then my questions will actually make a little more sense after we've rated all the groups and see where we end up. But Clinton's got to get to work. Adam, great having you on the show here with us at What If, and I hope you can come back on the next one. That'd be cool. You think?
Hey man, anytime.
Awesome.
I can't wait for my next first time. I really
your next first time again.
Sounds like
and Brandan. I love the preparation. You've given so much insight with all the homework that you did.
Double it next time.
Double it. Double it. I appreciate it.
He's an effort player. He's high motor, Brandan. Like, he's going to bring it next year or next show. Yeah.
He will. So what if we say go Hawks?
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.